Hi folks, I'm just going to do a little demonstration video here on how your new van operates. So we'll just take you inside here first. And we're inside the van. I just have these seats up here to show you all this stuff. So we'll just start off here. You have your control panel here. And it just switches on and off here at the corner, this one. So we switch this on here and it just shows us up all our levels. The first thing we have here is your pump. So if you want any water, you're going to have to switch that on. This is for lights inside and lights outside, and then you can see here your different battery levels. And always make sure that this vehicle, let's see now, that it's leisure selected. So what that's doing there is switching between the leisure and the engine. Now you always want to run the back of the van off the leisure. And when we press this now, you can see there at the bottom it says vehicle selected. You don't want that really when you're running. That's only for like an emergency when the back runs out. But you want that to be running off leisure selected. That's what you want there. And this is just showing you your levels here of your battery itself. Now the main thing to do with batteries and plugging the van in and stuff, we'd recommend that you would plug the van in at least 2 days a fortnight, especially over the winter time when you're not using the van, to keep the leisure batteries charged up. And maybe not so much in the summertime, you're going to be using the van a good bit, but in the winter time definitely plug the van in. And if you're not, anytime you're not using the van really, make sure you plug it in for 2 days every fortnight. It just keeps all your batteries right and keeps everything just ready to go whenever you want. Now we can go back in here. That screen just goes blank itself after a while, but we can go back in again. We press here and you see your different. I'm just pressing this button here. It just scrolls through your times, all your different levels, and bits and bobs like that. So the only thing really that you're going to be switching on and off is switching the van on and off, and switching your awning light and your pump on and off. The rest is just levels and stuff like that. But the only other thing that's the main thing you're going to have to watch is that you always have that there on the vehicle, on the leisure battery selected. You see there at the bottom. So that's the main thing to do with your control panel. So the next thing we're looking at here is your fridge. Now at the moment it's off. Now when your fridge is on, this panel here will still be dark because it only lights up when you're changing things. So the only indication that the fridge is actually on is when I hold this button here. You see the wee light on there, see the green light. So that's the only indication normally that your fridge is actually on. Now once I press that, you can see we brought up all the display in the front here. And our main selector here, once we press that again, we have the automatic setting, and at the moment it's on gas. And if we press this, it scrolls along. That's your main setting, and you can see it's flashing there now because we're not plugged in. The next one's your engine setting. That's running off the engine, and that's flashing as well because the engine's not starting. And then the next one's gas. So that's the manual way of selecting it. But if you just leave it on, this one here, which is automatic, what'll happen is it'll choose whatever's available. So at the moment the only thing's available is gas. So it's actually picked gas. If we plug in the van, it'll go on to the mains, and if we start the van, it'll go on to the engine. So if you just leave it on automatic, the only thing you need to do then is come in, switch on your fridge here and leave it on automatic. Now it'll always come back to the last setting that the fridge was on. So really the only thing you really have to do is come in and switch your fridge on and off. So you switch it off here, hold your finger on the button and it goes blank. So if you come in here now and switch on your fridge, it'll go back to the last setting, which was gas, or automatic, sorry, and it'll pick whatever's available. So if I started the engine now, it'll go on to the engine. If I plug the van in, it'll go on to the plug-in. And that's all there is to your fridge. Now over this side here you have just have your lock, and inside you have your fridge at the bottom and your freezer here at the top. So the next thing we're going to look at here is your thermo heater. Now this heater will heat the van on electric or gas, and it'll heat the water on electric or gas, or the van it'll heat everything on electric or gas or both. And what you do is you just start off by pressing this button here, and we're working on these 4 symbols. The first one here is heating the van. This is for your heating, and if we want to access that, then we just press the button, and the first thing it tells us is that it's actually off. Now if there's nothing on this top line here above that top line, the heating's actually off, so it's easy enough to look at the thing and see that there's nothing on at the moment. So that we'll press this again, we'll go back into the camper, press it again, and it says off. Now we need to start turning this here to choose a temperature that we want to heat the van at. So say we want to heat it at 24 degrees, and we press OK again, press that, and now we've set that at 24 degrees. Now we can come across here, the next one is heating the water. Now we don't want that, we're just going to heat the van. And the next one here is our power selection, what we're going to heat the van with. So at the moment we'll press this. You have a choice of gas or electric. At the moment we're in gas. The first one down is mix 1. Mix 1 is gas and 1 element of electric. Mix 2 is gas and 2 elements of electric. And electric 1 is just 1 element of electric on its own without gas. And electric 2 is your 2 elements of electric. So basically if you're in a campsite and you want to heat the van, you can go on to electric 2, and that's you not using any gas, you're just using electric to heat the van. And if you're wild camping, let's see, we'll go back in here again now. If you're wild camping, the only choice you have is gas. Now as whatever one of those there you pick, you're always going to have to press the set button, which is this one here. So I'm picking gas here now, and I'll press set, and if I press the return button at any stage at all, it'll always go back to what we're after setting. So what we're doing now, we're after setting the heating at 24 degrees on gas, and this is just the fan. You can turn this fan up and down if you want, and I'll show you that, but that's just the main, that's us after heating the van. Now we're heating that on gas. So if we want to go back in, we want to switch off the heating, press the camper van again and turn this right back to 0, to off, and press OK. And that's your heating off. Now the next thing we want to do is heat the water. We'll move it on to the wee water symbol, press this again, and that's off. And as we turn this up, it says eco, which is 40 degrees, or hot, which is 60. Now whatever one you want, if we want hot water, we'll press OK again, and we'll go back into the, and it's still on gas, so you don't have to keep choosing gas. If it's on gas, it'll stay on gas. But say this time we want to do it on electric too. So we're now going to heat the water on hot, which is 60 degrees on electric, and we'll press OK, and we'll press the return button. And we're now, you can look at, once you press the return button, it'll always just go back to the time here, and it'll show you what you're after setting up here. So we're after setting the water on hot on 2 bars of electric. So that's what we're after doing. Now we're after getting a wee triangle here, and the reason we're getting that is because we don't have mains. I just tried that there, but we're not plugged in, so we'll have to go back in here. If we want to heat the water now, if you're wild camping, you want to heat it on gas, go back in here and turn that back the way to gas, and always press OK, and we'll press the return button, and now it's showing us now we're heating the water on gas. So that's how you do that. Always press this button, it'll always get you into this menu. Anytime you're stuck and you don't know where you're at, if you press the return button, it always goes back to that screen. So don't panic at any stage, just press that return button, it always brings you back to that screen. Now if we want to turn off that water heating now, we'll go back in here again, go back over to our water, press the button and turn that back the way till it says off, and then press the button again. And now the top screen has disappeared, and if we press the return button, we now just have the time, and everything is off. The heating's definitely off. So if there's nothing on the top screen, the heating's off. If there's something on that top screen, there's something happening. You're either heating the van or heating the water. So we'll go back in here again. So that's heating the van, the first one. The second one is heating the water. The third one is your power selection, and the last one here is your fan. So when you have the heating on, you can go in here and choose, you can choose a different fan, whatever you want. So I'll just show you that. We'll just heat this fan here, say 11 degrees, and we can go over here and that'll give us a choice now, eco or high. Now the only thing about the heating is when it's running on electric, it's a lot quieter than what it is when it's running on gas. So, and it's going to take a wee bit longer on the electric, but it still is effective. It will heat it to the temperature, and it will heat the van up. But if you really want to heat the van in the winter time or heat the water faster, the gas and electric mix is probably your best option. Now I'll go back in here again. In the book, you can see this bottom one now. You can see those different symbols at the bottom. Now we're just concentrating on these top ones to get you going, but this bottom one here is your clock. If we go in there, we can set the time, and it's now 23 past 10, so we'll set that. We'll set the time. There we go. That's the time set. So when we go in here now, I'm after setting that time, and there's a timer thing here, and how that actually operates, you can see, you actually read it in the book. It'll give you it's fairly straightforward. You press the timer, it gives you a start time, say 5 o'clock in the morning, and it gives you an end time, say 7 o'clock in the morning or 8 o'clock, and it asks you what you want to do. If we want to bring on the heating, we start turning that up, and if we want to skip that, we just press, and it'll bring us onto the water. So if we wanted hot water at 5 o'clock in the morning, we can have hot water in an eco, and we want to run it on gas, say electric, and then press on, and that's your timer on. So anytime if we press return now, it's showing us a timer in the corner. So we're bringing that timer is bringing the hot water on in the morning at 5 o'clock, and it's going off at 10 o'clock. So we'll just go back in. But I don't want to confuse you too much, but just to show you a quick rundown on how that timer works. But it'll actually tell you in the book, and it goes back in off. We'll turn that timer off. But the main thing you want to work at the moment now are these top symbols at the top, but they're fairly straightforward. And we go back here, press return all the time, gets us back. And if we press this button, it'll switch off the panel. Yeah, that's it off now. So the next thing we're looking at here now is underneath your seat, and this is where your heater's located. And this is your frost valve here, the little blue valve. Your pumps here, your leisure batteries on here, and that's your charger. Now we'd recommend that in this wee area here that you wouldn't store too much. You have enough you can store here on the side of the battery. But in here around the heater where all these pipes and stuff are, the heater needs a wee bit of air to breathe. We'd recommend not storing too much stuff, or no stuff really in here. So what we're looking at here is the frost valve. At the moment the frost valve is closed, which is that direction there, and in the frost, when it hits 2 degrees, it'll actually open. And when it opens, you can see it'll open that way, and you'll see a wee blue button at the bottom shooting out. What you see the wee blue button at the bottom shot out. Now to correct that, you turn that around that way and press in the button. Now at 2 degrees, that's going to do that itself. So in the winter time, that's going to do that, and there's no way of stopping doing it. And once it does that, it's going to drain all the water out of your heater, and it's going to depressurize all your taps. So if you want to winterize the van, what you would do is come along here and open that like that. I'll just close it again here to keep the water in. Open that like that, and switch off your pump and open all your taps in between hot and cold. And what will actually happen is all the water and the pipework will run out through this valve out onto the street. So that's gonna drain all the water from your pipes and your taps. Now at this stage you have your taps open, you have the pump off. You can actually blow into the taps if you want to blow out the extra wee bit of water that's on the tap heads. In the real frosty weather, we would recommend that you definitely do that. So when you come back after winterizing your van, now winterizing the van, what I'm saying, you do this here. You drain your water heater and drain your pipework, and you can drain your fresh water tank and your wastewater tank. So when you come back, then you can fill up your tanks again. Close this valve in this position here, close that and press on the wee blue button, and switch on your pump and open your hot tap. And what that'll do there, it'll fill up your water heater first, and once that's full up, you'll have a free flow in your taps, and that's you back in action again. Now you can ring us at any time. This video should get you through it, but you can ring us at any time if you're not sure of any of this. But it's fairly straightforward. Once you've done it a few times, it's easy enough. So get a wee quick look at your bed here, how it operates. Straightforward enough. You press down this handle here, and you can see that bit there sort of falls down nearly on its own. And so that's that seat there, is just after collapsing. And we can bring this over here now. So that piece comes across, and then your cushions then that had been sitting here go over the top of it, and that's your bed made up. So it's fairly straightforward. So the main thing you have to just know about is that handle there that releases this piece here. So just have a wee look here now. We're just inside the cab here. This is where you open your bonnet here. You have to open the door to get at it. And underneath your passenger seat, this is your jack and wheel brace set. Your blue bag here is with all your paperwork and stuff in it. And we'll move around to the engine compartment here and give you a quick look. Now there's not much in here to be looking at, but you have your window wash here. And this is just your coolant for your engine and stuff and your brake fluid. And your dipsticks down the front here. And then if you ever have to jump start the van, there's a wee metal clip underneath this plastic cover here for putting your positive on, and put your negative on to some metal work here, like this bolt here at the front. So that's there, if you ever have to jump start the van, there's a metal clip underneath here for your positive, and put the negative onto one of these metal fasteners here. And we'll just move you on around here, on the still on the outside of the van. Now this van's got a gas system. You don't have any gas. The gas tank's underneath the van, and that's filled in through this. So you go to the station with the gas and you fill it up through here. And there's a set of adapters inside the blue bag as well for that. Your water fills here at the side, and it's got this is another optional thing for taking water into the van. You can buy a pump to stick into that, but you're not going to need it when you have the water fill here. And this is just the exhaust from your heater, and your plug-in is in behind here. That's for your main plug-in. And you have your bike rack then on your back door. So we're just around here at your toilet cassette. It's just behind the wee door here, and it pulls out. Just lift the handle up here, and your toilet flush is here, the blue button, and you'll get a red light on here when the cassette needs empty. So underneath the van here you have your valve here for draining your grey water. You just turn that at the end here, and there's another one here for another freshwater one here at the side as well. So we're actually underneath the van here now at the moment, and you can see your gas pipework here. Now this cover here, there's a clip here at the bottom that clips off, and this cover comes off, and there's a valve in there for for if you ever have to close off your gas completely from the gas tank. So that's the gas tank underneath. Your regulator nose here as well is protected from this cover, and that's how your gas operates from underneath. And here on the left hand side at the very back here you have a barbecue point. There's a little adapter, it's in the blue bag, that goes into here, and you put that on the end of your hose in your barbecue, and you can switch it on and off here, and that comes off the tank underneath as well. So we're just inside the cab of the van here. I'll just give you a few pointers on some of the stuff here. With the engine going, you can switch on your aircon here. The step itself will go on as well when you start the engine. The only other thing that you might need to have a look at is your cruise control. You turn that around here to cruise, and you can see it's showing all the doors open, but it'll actually show the cruise control on and off on the screen. Cruise off, cruise on. And also on this you have a speed limiter, which is down the bottom. This bottom one here, you can clip onto that, and what that gives you there is a speed limiter. And you can see there when I press that up or down, you can see the speed going up. So whatever speed you set that at, the van will stop moving or accelerating at that speed. So if you set it at 55 miles an hour, it'll just get the van will drive normally up to that speed. So it just saves you looking at the dash all the time to see what speed you're doing. And to switch that on and off, just press that button at the end, and you can see that on and off there on the screen. So that's just your speed limiter. The rest of the stuff's very car-like really. You have a wee compartment here. You'll get cold air going in there from your aircon, and your wee map holders and stuff like that. You have USBs and chargers here at the front as well. And your blinds here at the front, just squeeze them in there and the blinds will slide over and meet in the middle. And you also have the reverse camera, which comes on every time you put the van into reverse, which is handy as well. So I think I've sort of covered everything in the van. You can always ring us anytime at all you have any questions about the van or the operation of it, or if you have any problems. Best of luck with your van, and thanks very much.